That's exactly what God is doing through Isaiah here. He's saying, look, I know where you're at right now. I know it's hard. Judgment is coming and it's going to be difficult to endure.
Yeah.
But there is coming a day that none of this is going to be true anymore. And if you can look forward to that day is more important than this day.
Yeah.
The idea of the hope that we're looking for and the expectation of Advent is not this internal hope. Like, yeah, I'm going to get it this time.
Yeah.
Real hope is far bigger than us. It's not an internal thing. It's an external thing.
Yeah.
So it's hey, get your eyes on Jesus. He is your hope. He can do for you. He will do for you what you can't do in and of yourself.
Welcome to Let's Talk About That, the podcast where we deep dive into Sunday's message and explore your questions. I'm your host, Astin, Kahnk, and I'm excited to share this journey with you. Whether you're a longtime member of the Orchard or a first-time visitor, Let's Talk About That is your space to explore, reflect, and connect. Join us as we navigate the intricacies of faith, spirituality, and daily life, seeking to understand how the wisdom shared on Sundays can be applied to our modern challenges. So, grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable space, and let's dive in together. This is Let's Talk About That, where the conversation about Sunday's message never stops. Welcome back to Let's Talk About That, episode 102 with the Chip Parker here with me.
The Chip Parker?
The Chip Parker, the one and only Chip Parker.
Well, you say that, but when I was growing up, and I haven't checked in a while, probably still a thing, I'm pretty confident there was a Chip Parker who was an attorney in Jacksonville.
Stop.
Yeah,
Rails.
I'm Googling as we speak.
Okay, well, the Chip Parker that the Orchard knows. So fun fact for you. So my name, is, a pretty interesting name. My parents got it off of a street sign, in case you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's how they came up with my name. But I was at was it an NSYNC or Backstreet Boys concert?
No.
And there was the people that kind of help you find your seat. What are they called?
Ushers.
Thank you.
Also a singer. Could have been in his concert.
Could have been. His name was Astin, Aston, and I had never met someone named Astin.
Wow. It is interesting.
That was a good rabbit trail to start the podcast.
To bring it full circle, Chip Parker is the best bankruptcy attorney in Jacksonville, Florida, according to the first Google hit.
Good to know.
Yeah. So
a little fun fact for you.
There you go. And all right, weird enough, there's also a Chip Parker who is a lawyer in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh,
so there we go.
So I scratch that. It is not the one, the only. It is the one and only for the Orchard, but clearly not in general.
Well, I'm technically Clarence Warren Parker III.
Yeah. So there technically is two others before you.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm not unique at all. Just not unique at all. It's fine.
Oh, man. So, hey, Chip. So last week was Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Okay. It was busy, in the sense that we had a lot going on that week because me and the boys were on a hunting trip in Alabama with my dad.
Very cool.
It was my wife's birthday the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy birthday. Belated birthday, Leanne.
And then Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then really what made the week busy is for Leanne's birthday. I was like, hey, I know your birthday gets overlooked because of Thanksgiving all the time. So what do you want for your birthday? Like, let me know. I want to make your birthday special. What do you want for your birthday? I did not anticipate her answer.
What was her answer?
That she wanted the house deep cleaned from top to bottom.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So not that I did it all by no means. Yeah. Like she was doing the heavy work, but I was right there with her. And busy week.
Yeah. But you know what? That is so true. Like just the smell and just the feeling of a clean house. Like
okay, but I can't smell.
Okay, well, she can smell and she can smell a clean house. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. That is, I love walking into a clean house. And to me, sometimes when I'm such a product of my environment. If my environment is crazy, I feel crazy. So I'm right there with her.
Okay, so that's exactly where she's at. Yeah. And work was getting crazy for her. So with work getting crazy for her, it was like, okay, let's get the house not crazy. Yeah. So I get it. I get it. But let's just say it was a busy week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Leanne cleans.
Hey, I may need to take some tips from her.
It's a thing, Astin.
That's good.
It's a thing.
That's good. Well, yeah, my Thanksgiving was good too. We stayed in Lake City, had my sister, and just ate lots of yummy food. Did you listen to last week's podcast?
I did, which, by the way, I want to come to the defense of pumpkin and cranberry.
Okay.
I mean, I'm here for the pumpkin. Like, pumpkin pie is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
And cranberry sauce is a necessity for Thanksgiving.
You have to have it with your turkey.
And not like the homemade kind that still has like the berries and nuts in it, like the straight out of the can with the ridges.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about? With the ridges. It's got it. So anyway, like I can't have pumpkin pie slander on the podcast.
No, I literally had someone text me and say, thank you for standing up for pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving.
I'm waiting on Mary Beth to bring us in some of that cinnamon roll pumpkin pie that she talked about. Didn't that sound amazing?
It sounded delicious.
Amazing.
I'm really sad. Like I, hyped up the pumpkin pie and we didn't even have pumpkin pie at my house.
I didn't eat pumpkin pie either. But I didn't eat really any desserts.
Yeah.
I've been trying to eat a little bit better. And so I shied away from the desserts and went just for some extra turkey with cranberry sauce.
Oh, that was good. My job this year was to make, it's not really hard, the ham. It's already made. Just have to warm it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I felt very honored that I got to partake in, one of the meats of Thanksgiving. That was my task.
One of the meats of Thanksgiving.
One of the meats. We had turkey, ham. Phenomenal. Yeah, and then I made, it was just ham.
It's just ham.
Just ham.
I love Thanksgiving. I could eat Thanksgiving food all the time. Everybody, or, not everybody, but a lot of people are very anti-turkey, and I don't get it. Turkey's phenomenal. I would rather have a turkey sandwich than any other kind of sandwich, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And a homemade turkey sandwich with leftover Thanksgiving turkey just hits different.
It does.
Just hits different.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're transitioning now from Thanksgiving season into Christmas Advent season. But I think in my house, we had a good mixture of the two because our tree was up on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Leanne puts the tree up on Veterans Day because she's out of school, right? So she puts the tree up. And what's interesting is I think Thanksgiving is now in the middle of Christmas season.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff starts coming out. Like, as soon as Halloween decorations go away, Christmas decorations come out. And I used to be opposed to that. I used to be a December 1st guy, not even a Black Friday guy, like a December 1st guy. But, whatever. Life is too short not to have your Christmas tree up, I guess,
true.
and the decorations. But it kind of creates this weird place for Thanksgiving in the middle of the Christmas season.
Yeah.
But the more I've thought about it, I'm not really opposed to that either, because maybe it's good to see Thanksgiving as a start to the Christmas season and let us be thankful as we head into I won't.
Yep.
That was always kind of my irony of Thanksgiving that I would think about, is that we would have a day that we would all celebrate all we had to be thankful for, and then the next day we would go trample people for $6 blankets at Walmart.
It's like, hey, I'm thankful, but then now I'm gonna throw some bows and get that TV that I need.
Did you ever do the in-person like early morning Black Friday shopping?
Maybe once or twice. Our family was not big on Black Friday
So
shopping.
my family was, but I really didn't go with my family.
Okay.
I went as a parent a couple of times.
Really?
Because I want to try it one time kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it was actually fun. I did not hate it. Leanne and I did it a couple of years,
Okay.
but kind of very specific, looking for, gifts or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of done now, because I think Black Friday's kind of reached its peak. Cyber Monday helped kill it a little bit. Now it's Black Friday week because everybody shops online.
Yep.
But I think even before that, like when they started opening on Thanksgiving, I was like, nah, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. So we haven't done that in a while. We do like the online stuff mostly, but there was a day Black Friday shopping was a blast.
Yeah. No, I remember, I was working at my Eliano's days, and there was someone was like, hey, are we going to be opened on Black Friday? And I think it was me and maybe Jamie Stevens, then Jamie Foote now. I think she and I decided, we'll be one of the crazy coffee shops and open at like 3 or 4 a.m. for all the Black Friday shoppers. So that was fun until 6 o'clock in the morning hit, and you were really tired and you'd been up serving coffee for 3 hours.
And now it's your busy time.
And now it's busy. Yeah. So I do love the Thanksgiving. My and Brandon's anniversary is usually, last year it was on Thanksgiving. This year it was a Black Friday. So it's always fun to be able to eat delicious dinner and then go on a date with my hubs.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. 5 years we celebrated. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a fun ride. Yeah. So let's just jump into our message from yesterday. Okay. So we kicked off the Advent season yesterday. Week 1 message was hope. For the listener, what is Advent?
Yeah, so Advent is not something that we, quote, celebrate at the Orchard all the time, because Advent refers to the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. That is a season that the church has traditionally recognized to prepare for Christmas. Mm-hmm. The word Advent means coming or arrival, right? It's this idea that we are preparing ourselves for the arrival of Christ or the coming of Christ. And depending on what kind of church background you have, if you have a church background, Advent is a really big deal in some traditions. Like it is you don't ever not do this, you know. But at the Orchard, this is the first year, I think, since I've been here that we really fully leaned into we're going to do an Advent series.
Yeah.
And we're going to recognize this as Advent and look at the 4 traditional themes of Advent, which are, hope, peace, joy, and love, and just really fully lean into the tradition of Advent to the point that I'm not sure that the other locations wound up doing it. We talked about it. I'm not sure where they decided. But Astin, right here in Lake City, we had a full-on Advent wreath.
We did. And it brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah, so we need to unpack that for the listeners for a minute, because when we are in the room on Tuesday with staff, pastors, communicators, figuring out the message for Sunday, what Sunday service is going to look like, we started talking about Advent, started talking about the Advent wreath. I was like, that'd be kind of cool if we brought that out. And Astin immediately says, I'm going to light it. I want to light the candle. I need to light the candle.
I did.
Would you like to unpack, what brought about this childhood trauma?
Why I'm so passionate about it? Yeah, no. So like Chip said, we were talking about it on Tuesday, and as soon as I heard the word Advent, I was already on Amazon. I didn't tell you because I was like,
you were already.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I heard Advent, I was like, let's start looking. So I started looking for an Advent wreath, and the reason why is just the lighting of the Advent wreath is one of my absolute favorite childhood memories in the church that I grew up. I remember as soon as that wreath was brought out, just the different candles and just the meaning behind each candle. But also, each week, a different family was chosen to light the candle. It was a big deal to be chosen to light the candle.
So how was a family chosen?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Should ask Mary Beth. I'm not sure.
Oh, there it is. So, there's some between the lines there. So, because you don't know how a family was chosen.
I don't.
What does that mean for you personally?
I don't know.
That you were never chosen?
I was never chosen. No. So, yeah, I don't know how a family was chosen. At random, I'm not sure.
But, so we should ask Mary Beth? Because you guys went to church together?
We did.
And her family was chosen?
Yeah.
How many times was her family chosen?
I don't know. You should ask her. As far as I can remember, I don't remember lighting the candle ever, but I do remember, like I said, being an acolyte, but where I brought the light into the church, but that was a different story.
Look, Mr. and Mrs. Sibrinson, if you're listening to this podcast and Astin has repressed childhood memories of lighting the Advent candle, we the people need to know.
We need to know why. Yeah. So they would light come up to the front of the church, light the candle, and then read the scripture that was based on that candle. And I just remember it just being just in anticipation, just with each of those messages of, Christmas is coming. As you light the candle, you get that much closer to Christmas.
Yeah. Countdown, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
or so count up, I guess.
Count up. Yeah, correct. Yeah. And so to me, it's just one of the traditions that I've always held so dear to my heart. And I just was so excited whenever I heard that Advent we were going to be having a whole sermon series on it. I really was excited that you were on the same page with me about, lighting the Advent.
Didn't even know it. Boom. There we were.
It was
the only thing I requested, though, were the fat candles. I like the fat candles, not the long, skinny candles.
And I'm right there with you because the longer they burn, the fat ones are not going to see all the drippage on them.
Yeah. But I have similar memories, which is probably why I was excited about the Advent series as well, is the church I grew up in, and it's funny because I church top a lot when I was growing up, and I think I've shared that on the podcast. But the one tradition that I really remember is Advent. and we would light the Advent candles. And I always thought it was such a cool thing. I shared with the Lake City location Sunday that there was a time as a child where I freaked out about, like, what do we do if the candle goes out? Like, what, like, he's preaching and, like, the candle goes out. Like, do we have to cancel Christmas? Is Jesus not coming? Yeah. But, you know, I think it is a cool tradition. And as an adult, I think, yes, it does have that sense of tradition and anticipation of Christmas, but also as an adult, it's the anticipation of the Jesus who was coming back, right? Not just the Jesus who came first time, but the Jesus who was coming again. Like we are still living in anticipation of his advent, right? Just like, you know, the nation of Israel was at his first coming, longing for the appearance of the Messiah. That's where we are now. He's come once, and we believe now that because he's come once, he's going to come again. And so that makes Advent have a whole nother layer of meaning and depth when you get there as an adult and start to realize that.
Yeah, I'm totally right there with you. As a kid, it was, okay, we're getting closer to Jesus coming as, you know, baby born on Christmas, but now as an adult and being more mature in my faith, it's like, no, it's like you said about that second advent, that second coming of Jesus. And I loved how we've, you know, encouraged our people as well, like, get an Advent wreath and do it at home with your kids. Like, I can't wait to do that with Jackson, kind of explain what the different candles are, why we light them, to get him to not only focus on the birth of Jesus, but the fact that he is coming back. It is coming back soon.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember from the Advent wreath as a kid is the idea that hope, peace, joy, love, these are the best gifts of Christmas that Jesus gives to us, right? Like, Jesus gives us hope. He gives us peace. Spoiler, right? He gives us joy. You know, he is love. And so just kind of being able to use the rhythms of Advent to bring a little calmness into the holiday season, I think is helpful.
Yeah, especially with all those, we kind of briefly talked about it yesterday, but how we have all those unrealistic expectations, you know, in this time of the year with, for me, my stressor the last couple of days has been my Christmas card. Find the best picture for a Christmas card. I know that sounds so silly, but
I've never been a Christmas card person.
See, I love them. I have a, this is another rabbit trail. I literally have a ribbon that I like tape to our door, and I hang them, all the Christmas cards we get, and then I save them, and I get to look at them, you know, from the year before. So we started it, our first Christmas together being married, and I've had one every single year. So this year I'm really late on it. Hashtag, you know, still having a 4-month-old baby with the sleep regression, but I got that card done. But I think in this season, we just have so many just expectations of how the Christmas card's going to look, how our kids should be dressed for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
The matching outfits, the parties we plan, the activities, the traditions we start. And I think so many times we can get wrapped up in those expectations. And again, we're humans, they're flawed. They're not going to be fulfilling. They may be fulfilled for a mini second of our lives. But the fact is, in Advent, we can have that hope that Jesus is going to be, you know, the one that fulfills everything for us. He's going to give us that hope that we feel like we need, the peace that we need, the joy that we need. So I love how Advent is perfectly placed in a season where there are so many expectations that most of the time aren't really going to be fulfilling for us.
Yeah, I think that's so important for people to grasp is, as a human, you're going to have expectations. There's nothing inherently wrong with those expectations. In fact, those expectations are a gift from God. We'll touch on that in just a second. But the idea is that they never quite live up to what we want them to be. I was kind of thinking about this. I think the accessibility of cameras has heightened this.
Yeah.
Because we all have cameras in our pockets, not just cameras, but video cameras, right? You know, it's funny that they used to be two different things.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And I think that because of that and how the videos and the pictures capture a moment in time, I think it kind of forces us to even subconsciously try to manufacture those moments just so that we can capture them.
Yeah.
And it has led to, I think, moments that don't really do what we want them to do.
Exactly.
And they don't really meet those expectations. And so I think that's worse now maybe than it ever has been. But I don't think there's any point in time when our earthly expectations have fully been met.
Yeah.
And that's because our expectations were never designed to be met in the earth.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the things C.S. Lewis used to say is when I find myself with longings that nothing in this world can satisfy, the only answer is I was made for another world.
Yes.
You know, like those unfulfilled expectations remind me that there is more in this world than I see.
Yeah.
There is more in this world than I experience, and that I am made for something greater than I can simply experience in the here and now. And so, yeah, I think understanding that, and that Advent is designed to raise our expectations, but ultimately point them to Jesus.
Yeah.
I think that's super important for us to get.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So let's go ahead and dive into the message from yesterday. So the message, you had to start with Isaiah 1 yesterday to kind of paint the picture of.
Well, we're going to be in Isaiah for all the weeks of Advent. That sometimes, you know, there are traditional scriptures that go along with Advent, but usually it's just the themes.
Yes.
And the scriptures can vary.
Yes.
You know, so we decided, hey, let's just stay in Isaiah for these 4 weeks.
Yeah. And I love it because it's painting a picture that, you know, I think it's so good for all of us to understand about the hope. You know, usually with Advent, you think it's, okay, the hope of Jesus coming. But you guys kind of did a little bit of I wouldn't say a spin on it, because it's definitely the truth, but the fact that it's not only the hope that he has come, but he's coming back. And so that's kind of where Isaiah, 1 was kind of starting off.
Well, and I think to really understand a lot of what we're going to talk about, what we even did talk about Sunday, is you have to understand a little bit about Isaiah and the context he wrote in. Because when you just say Isaiah was a prophet of the nation of Israel, well, yes and no, right? Not Israel like we think of Israel with the 12 tribes in the land, not like political national Israel today. Yeah. He was actually a prophet to the southern kingdom of Israel, the kingdom of Judah, because at that time, Israel was divided into 2 nations. You had the northern kingdom, Israel, that had a little bit more overt wickedness than the southern kingdom. They had worse kings than the southern kingdom. And ultimately, they were conquered by a foreign land and people taken away into captivity. And Isaiah is prophesying to the southern kingdom, who thought they were better than their northern neighbors because we don't do this, we don't do that, we've stayed faithful. And yet Isaiah reveals in chapter 1, no, you haven't. Yeah. Just because you're going through the motions, just because you're going through the routines and the rituals doesn't mean that God's okay with what's going on, because there's a root of wickedness in the nation of Judah as well. And so God says, I'm tired of your offerings, I'm tired of your sacrifices, I'm tired of your, festivals and Sabbaths. If you pray, I'm not listening. Yeah. And so it is this message in chapter 1. Hey, judgment's coming. Yeah. What happened to the northern Israel is going to happen to southern Judah, and it's coming. But then you shift gears in many places throughout the book of Isaiah where he almost says, yes, but. Yeah. Let's look beyond the judgment that's coming quickly, and let's look forward to a day when all of this is made right. Yeah. And that's what we talked about yesterday, because in Isaiah chapter 2, there is this picture of what it's going to look like when Jesus comes back to the earth and sets up his dwelling place on earth, on his holy mountain, and the nations will go up to the house of the Lord to learn from him, to walk in their ways. There'll be justice and righteousness. There will be no wars. And that's the famous verse of, and so we'll take our swords and beat them into plows, and take our spears and beat them into pruning shears, and that day is coming. And that's the hope, that it may not be here yet, and it may seem like it never will, but we have a firm and confident hope that it's coming, even if we don't see it yet. Yeah.
No, that's so good. Okay, so I want to rewind just a little bit, because I love Nerd Out Sessions. So you talked about the 12 tribes. Do you know what tribes were in like each region, or like each divided part of Israel, like in northern Israel and southern? Is that how it was divided?
Yes. Okay. Kind of. So
I just totally threw this. I was thinking about this as you were talking. I was like, I'm actually legit curious.
No. It's a good question, because if you look, probably if you have a study Bible, there's a map there. If not, you can Google it. There are maps available that show when Israel inherited the land, like the allotment of the land to the different tribes.
Okay.
And so you can go on there and see a lot of that. And it's pretty accurate, sometimes these things are not 100% accurate, these maps, because the names of the places may have changed or different, or we're just having to guess archaeologically that this is where this particular site was.
Yeah.
But we do know for the most part, almost exclusively, though I'm sure there's a few exceptions, the northern kingdom was not like 6 tribes or 8 tribes.
Okay.
It was actually 10 tribes.
Really?
The only 2 tribes that were in the southern kingdom were the tribes of Judah and Benjamin.
Okay.
And like I say, I'm sure that there were exceptions, people from other tribes, whatever. But the southern kingdom was primarily the tribes of Benjamin, which was, the tribe of Saul, the first king of Israel, the favored younger son of Jacob, and then the tribe of Judah, which was David's line, the kingly line, which is why Jerusalem was their capital.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we're going to see this coming week that lineage of Judah is the lineage of Jesus. And so it's that southern kingdom.
Yeah. I love learning. I love on Sunday, you in the Lake City location, you had a map. And so it kind of helped me and helped everyone else kind of understand like geographically where these regions were located. And that I just really enjoyed seeing that on Sunday. Kind of just helped bring the Bible to life and to help me get a better picture about what it was talking about.
I think it's important that we ground the Bible into history and archaeology and geography because it makes, like you say, I think it does make it real.
Yeah.
However, I will say I was doing a little bit of keyboard research to verify what I just told you.
Okay.
And I left out a tribe in the southern kingdom that would have been around is the tribe of Levi, but the tribe of Levi didn't hold any lands.
Okay.
So that's kind of why you say just Judah and Benjamin, because Levi didn't have any lands. They had cities of refuge, the temple, but they were probably a part of the southern kingdom as well.
Yeah, yeah. We're understanding the divide of Israel, the different tribes. Why is that important for us to understand when talking about Advent and talking about this part of the Bible?
Yeah, I do think it, like we just said, is helpful because it grounds it in reality, but also I think it helps us get in the frame of mind of that original audience who was hearing Isaiah's prophecies for the first time, hearing this message from the Lord, because here they are, a kingdom that is internally torn apart.
Yeah.
They have already seen this overwhelming militaristic nation of Assyria just devastate everybody in the known world that they know of and then conquer the northern kingdom. And now they're sitting here and they're this like small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
Uncertain of the future. And they hear 2 things. Number 1, this is not unfair. This is the justice of God for your sin. And I mean, I think you can look at the book of Habakkuk and, see, hey, this is the justice that you deserve, whether you realize it or not. But then also, I think it makes that picture of swords into plows that much more compelling.
Yeah.
Right? Because when the threat of war and conquest is on your doorstep, when you've been through civil war to see your nation divided, the thought of a day where there would be no war.
Yeah.
And Isaiah says in chapter 2 that nations will not train for war again.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is just that much more compelling because I think in our world, we're so numb to violence and everything because in a real way, we just see it through the TV or on the screen. It's not a everyday reality that we live in. It's like, oh yeah, okay. But for somebody who is living in Ukraine or the Middle East or North Korea, wow, that is hope. Yeah. The hope is that all of this is not something I have to go through forever. There's coming a day when it won't be true.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's important to kind of understand that historical context so that you feel the weight of hope that Isaiah is bringing in his prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you on there. So on Sunday, you said something that was kind of funny, but it was, literal that, you have Isaiah 1, but then you have chapter 2 that comes right after chapter 1. So kind of like,
yeah, I mean, those
dig
are
a little bit deeper for that.
That's the deep truth of Scripture that people come to the orchard to find.
The hard truths,
that's just the hard truth nobody wants to hear,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
We're not going to water it down for anybody. Isaiah 2 comes after Isaiah 1.
Yes.
I don't care what the liberal media tells you. I say that, tongue in cheek, haha, it's funny, but also because I think we need to understand that these are the same people that God is talking to.
Yeah.
The same people who are sitting under his judgment are the same people that he's giving a promise of hope for peace in the future. And neither of those, judgment nor hope, is out of God's character.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to see that this judgment that comes from the justice of a holy and righteous God, God says it's going to be temporary. But what I'm bringing to you, Isaiah says, in the last days, is going to be eternal.
Yeah.
And it's not going to go away. So I think in our minds, we want to compartmentalize like the bad verses for the bad people and the good verses for the good people. But the truth is Isaiah 1 and 2 are for the same people.
Yeah.
And I think to me, that's why I even, made mention of that so that we don't compartmentalize, the promises of God for those of us who are nailing life. And then, we look at the consequences of sin and judgment for the people who just don't get it. Like the truth is we're all people and God's love is unconditional and extends to all. And his judgment is just. And it doesn't matter what your last name is, where you were born, how much money you have, or how good a life you tried to live.
Yeah.
Apart from Jesus, you are under God's judgment.
Yeah.
And I think that, at least for me, that was important for us to connect that, Isaiah 2 does, again, no matter what you hear anywhere else, comes directly after Isaiah 1.
Yeah.
But the point is, they're written to the same people. These are not God speaking to the good guys and the bad guys. It's just the guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Also on Sunday, you talked about the millennial reign of Jesus. And so that's kind of what Isaiah 2 is talking about, correct? Or not really talking about, but like the hope in Jesus, the hope that you can find in him for his coming again.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, all right, this is really where we just have to have the nerd out.
Yes. And I'm here for it.
All right.
I've been waiting for this moment.
All right. So the millennial kingdom or the millennial reign of Christ refers to a time in the last days where Jesus physically returns to earth and physically and literally establishes his rule and kingdom for 1,000 years on physical earth. Now, I want to be very clear going into this, that not everybody who is a godly, Jesus-loving, Bible-believing, Christian shares this view. I will say that it is a view that I am very comfortable with, but I don't know that I'm 10,000% married to it in the sense that, hey, if you gave me a compelling argument from Scripture about why this may not be true, I'd listen to you.
Yeah.
But what I'd say is at this point, I've not seen that argument. So to me, this is still where I'm at.
Okay.
Where I'm at is there is a timeline of the last days that I think we just get jumbled together a lot of times. And we just think, okay, Jesus coming back, boom, last days, right?
Yeah.
But it's really, more than that. So there is an event in the church that I still believe, again, even though I'm open to be, proven wrong, I still believe that there's an event in the last days that will begin with the rapture of the church, which is where those who are on earth now and know Jesus as Savior will be called up to be with him in heaven. After that, there will be a period of judgment upon the earth that is typically known as tribulation. That will be a time for God bringing judgment on the earth through divine punishments and plagues and diseases and all these things. It'll also be a time when God turns his attention back specifically to the nation of Israel, and we see a great revival among the Jewish people, and many of them will come to Christ. At the end of that period of judgment and tribulation, Armageddon, we read that the armies of the world will gather at the forces, will gather their forces together for the battle of Armageddon. And at that battle of Armageddon, Jesus will win, and boom, that's when he's back.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and so when Jesus comes back, we read that we come with him, those who have been with him, the church, his bride, come back with him, and we enter into this period that we call the millennial kingdom, which is 1,000 years of Jesus ruling and reigning over his creation as he always intended. That's why I believe what we read in Isaiah 2 is very literal, that the mountain of God is going to be a literal place, and the nations will literally go to him to hear from him, learn from him, to learn his ways. And so that millennial kingdom will be a time of peace, right? It will be a time when those of us who know Jesus as Savior are able to be here with him. But there will also be people on the earth who do not have a saving relationship with Jesus, who may even be born during the millennial kingdom, because there will be, you know, people on earth when he comes back who were not believers. They just survived to that point, and they have kids, and they have kids, and they have kids for generations. So there will be people on earth who know Jesus, who see Jesus, but who may not come to know Jesus as their Savior. And so at the end of that 1,000 years, by the way, I guess I should say during that time, Satan will be, you know, chained and bound, right? And that's God ruling and reigning. At the end of that 1,000 years, Satan will be loosed for a period of time. He will gather armies from the peoples of the earth, presumably, or obviously, those who don't know Jesus as Savior, those who were just born during that time, never trusted him. They will make one final assault against Jesus at his mountain, and he will end it. Like, that's it. Final battle.
Yeah.
At that point, that is when Jesus begins to, the last days begin to transition to what we think of as like heaven at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like that is the all things become new. That is he'll wipe away every tear from their eye. And that is when we talk about eternity at that point, right? And so again, I know that's like super confusing, and I felt like we're trying to, you know, drink from a fire hydrant to get all that in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not like married to every piece of that. And I'm not even super clear on every piece of that because there's a lot of smaller doctrines and beliefs that go into that. But big picture, that's what the millennial reign is. It is the physical fulfillment of Jesus's rule and reign and his kingdom on this earth for 1,000 literal years at the end of time before we enter into eternity with him.
Yeah. Okay, so I have 2 follow-up questions, because as you're talking, I'm thinking, so, you know, your 1,000 rule or millennial rule for Jesus on the earth, is it going to be like a small glimpse of like what Eden was meant to be? Or is Eden, I know we're kind of going on a big rabbit trail. Or is Eden more so just like what heaven will be like, you know, where everything was perfect? So like, All right. So yes and yes. Okay.
The millennial reign of Christ will be what the earth was intended to be under his rule and reign. And yet it will not be God coming to visit us in the cool of the day, right? Like he does with Adam and Eve. Yeah. It will be God literally establishing his rule and reign, his home here on earth. Okay. Right? So it will be better than that. But also, yes, heaven as well, because a lot of what we attribute to heaven is probably true of the millennial kingdom and vice versa. But the way that I've always understood heaven the best, when I got this, it just kind of helped me understand heaven. Heaven is going to be what earth was always intended to be, right? So even during the millennial kingdom, at that point, the earth will not be remade yet, right? Because that comes Revelation 21 after the millennial kingdom, when the earth is remade. And matter of fact, from Revelation 21 there to the end of the book, you don't see the new heaven and new earth separated. There's the new heaven, new earth together from then on. That's the recreated world that we're going to live in. But the millennial kingdom, we will still live in this world. And this world is still broken by sin. This world is still broken by sin. So I think that it will be a picture of what this world was intended to be, you know, as best it can while in its sin-cursed nature. But after the millennial kingdom, the curse of sin will be completely removed. There will be no more sin in the earth or in God's people. So I think that's the difference. In the millennial kingdom, sin still exists in the heart of people who don't know Jesus and in creation itself. In heaven, in eternity, sin won't exist anymore.
I can't even, I was literally talking to Brandon last night about this because he's very wise, and I just love to ask him those kinds of questions. We were talking about this exact topic, the millennial reign of Jesus. And it's just so cool because our human minds can think one thing, but then it's like, we won't know, the full truth because God is, God is all knowing. He is the only one that knows it. But the fact that we can have that hope that God is who he says he is, and he will do what he says he will do, just gives you hope in those times of just desperation when you are just looking for hope. It's like the fact that one day, for those that believe in Jesus, when they step into eternity, no more tears, no more war, no more cancer, no more sickness, none of that. And the fact that our hope can be eternal and we have our eyes fixed on that is just something I know for me here, it just brings me so much hope that okay, I think these problems and things are difficult here now on earth, but one day I won't have to face them anymore.
Yeah. So one of the things that I have said a lot, I think that, relates to this is what happens 5 million years from now is infinitely more important than what happens 5 years from now.
Absolutely.
And I think that in some ways I've said that so much it's become cliche, but I don't want to miss the importance of that because that's exactly what God is doing through Isaiah here. He's saying, look, I know where you're at right now. I know it's hard. Judgment is coming and it's going to be difficult to endure.
Yeah.
But there is coming a day.
Yeah.
That none of this is going to be true anymore. And if you can look forward to that day is more important than this day.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a good piece of hope, right? Is that our hope is that eternity is going to be better and longer and more fulfilling and important than what we experience now. Yeah. And so that's how we can say with scripture that I don't consider the trials of this present time worthy to be compared to, the glory that is out there. Right. And so I think that that's important for us to remember when we talk about this. And that's why hope is hope. It is hope does not downplay reality. It just says the future is more important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Yeah, the fact that we can have hope this side of heaven is awesome. Yeah. Man, I thoroughly enjoy your nerd out sessions, Chip.
I enjoy nerding out.
Yes.
One may say it comes natural.
Yes.
The nerding out.
I like it. But I think it's so important because the Bible is obviously, it's God's word, God's truth, but there is so much historical context you have to understand the Bible. So I appreciate you all the pastors taking the time to explain it.
I'm like Shrek says about ogres. I'm an onion. I have layers there. So at Leanne's birthday party, we were hanging out with, some folks for the church, and we were playing a game, and I can't remember the name of the game, but it was essentially everybody had to say yes or no, answering a question about a person. So example maybe, has Astin ever been arrested? And you have to, and everybody had to vote yes or no.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so what was funny is some of the questions came around, and one of them for Chip was like, has Chip ever read the entire Harry Potter series? So how would you answer that question, Astin?
No.
I have.
You have. I was going to say yes. And I was like, okay, I'll just go with the, okay.
Ask me how old I was.
20. Nope. Yeah, I'd say 20s.
Mid-30s.
Okay, mid-30s.
But it was because it was like, hey, I'm curious. And once I start something, I'm OCD and I can't stop.
I got to finish it, yeah.
I can't remember. There was something else we were talking about, Star Wars. And I was like, oh, yeah, 100% all in on Star Wars. Love Star Wars. And then some of the questions came around, and it was like, has Chip ever been camping? Answer.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
All the time. All the time.
I'm trying to guess no, because I think at some point maybe there is something I haven't done.
And one of the other ones were like, does Chip know how to operate a power saw or something?
I'm going to say yes.
Yes. I like build things with woods. I build a lot of things, you know? And so it was funny is I was telling those guys, I was like, look, man, I can be a nerd and still a guy at the same time.
It's true. Yeah.
These don't have to be mutually exclusive, you know? So I enjoy my nerd out sections. I am a nerd at heart, but hey, don't have that let me catch you slacking out there thinking I still can't whoop up on you in like pickleball or golf or whatever. I'm still not an athlete, but I'm not.
You're just like a ninja. You just don't know what angle you're going to come at.
I'm a mathlete. No, not really. I hate math.
Yeah. So any lasting thoughts as we try to lay in this plane?
So one serious one is I shared a quote in Lake City Sunday, but it was one I didn't find until after our meeting on Tuesday. And then because of Thanksgiving and everything, I didn't really get to share it with the rest of the pastors until Sunday morning. But it was a quote by German pastor Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who lived during World War II, died during World War II.
Wow.
And, I'm sure a lot of you know about Bonhoeffer. If not, you can read. A ton has been written on him. But while in prison in Germany during World War II, he wrote some things on Advent, and they were collected in a volume called God in the Manger. And one of the quotes that I shared from that Sunday, I just thought was so good. Bonhoeffer says, "A prison cell in which one waits and hopes and is completely dependent on the fact that the door of freedom has to be opened from the outside is not a bad picture of Advent."
Yeah.
And I love that because, the idea of the hope that we're looking for and the expectation of Advent is not this internal hope. Like, I'm going to get it this time.
Yeah.
Like we're going to get it together and we're going to put war in our past and the nations are going to come together on our own. And like that's not the hope.
Yeah.
Real hope is far bigger than us. It's not an internal thing. It's an external thing.
Yeah.
So it's hey, get your eyes on Jesus. He is your hope. He can do for you. He will do for you what you can't do in and of yourself.
Yeah.
And so I love that quote. And actually this morning when I was sitting down at my desk and just starting work on things for this week, I got a text from a friend who took a picture of the Advent devotion that she's reading.
Very cool.
And that Bonhoeffer quote was like
I love
a part of it. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's wild, because honestly, I'd never seen that quote until this week when I was studying. And that's one of the things that we like to say at the Orchard, right? It just so happens, never just happens, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And I love that quote. It's not a bad picture of Advent. So I think it's worth sharing and maybe remembering, hey, this Christmas, is your hope internal? That you can pull off the perfect Christmas morning, the best Christmas ham, the, perfect holidays? Or is your hope that, man, no matter what this life brings, there's coming a day when Jesus is coming and he's got the keys to my prison door and he's already freed me from sin. And one day he's going to free me from death and the grave and I'm going to live with him forever. And so I think that is a big part of Advent, right? Not that Jesus has come, but he's coming back.
Yeah. Yes and amen. Yeah. Well, Chip, thank you for the conversation.
Hey, thanks for having me on your podcast.
My podcast. Yes. Well, I'm excited for next week, which will be week 2 of our Advent, and it's going to be on peace.
100%. Week 2 comes after week 1 every time, just like Isaiah, too.
Just like Isaiah, 100%. In case you didn't know. Well, tune in next week as we deep dive into our second week of Advent. We hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About That. We hope it encouraged and challenged you as we continue to grow on this journey of faith and embrace community together. If you have more questions, thoughts, or feedback, we want to hear from you. Be sure to reach out to us through our social media or visit our website to stay connected. If you found today's discussion meaningful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Until next time, we hope that this episode inspired you and will keep Sunday's message at the front of your mind. See you next week.